there's always a few going to be sick. It's COVID everywhere. Classes were halfway over yesterday. Just jump in and She's looking so grumpy. That's because we were in the toilet. When what? We do the right thing. We do it. Now? Does she need to actually play? I don't know. Yes? Yes. Oh, go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2022 May graduation ceremony for the Australian College of Applied Professions. My name is Andrew O'Brien. I'm the Melbourne Campus Manager and the Master of Ceremonies for this morning's ceremony. I would like to offer a special welcome to those watching via the live stream. COVID has presented us with many challenges, but one of the opportunities and hopefully benefits for the future is we now live stream our ceremonies so that family and friends unable to be here are able to participate and watch the ceremony. So a special welcome to those people who are tuning in. Traditionally at this point I do just remind people phones on silent, but also we like to also remind you hashtag ACAP Grad 22 would be a nice way to share the ceremony for us. At this point, we were expecting to have an elder to perform the welcome, but unexpected delay has meant that that honour falls to me for today. So I would like to acknowledge that we meet today on the traditional country of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people. I pay respect to Wurundjeri Woiwurrung elders, past, present, emerging, and recognise Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people as the traditional custodians of the land and waters surrounding us. I would also like to pay respect to elders both past and present of the Kulin Nation and extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians present. To begin our celebration, it's my pleasure to invite our Executive General Manager, Uzi Schultz, to officially welcome distinguished guests, graduands, families, friends, and professional staff, academic and professional staff of the College. Uzi.
I think they're working. Yep, thank you. And can I also acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Boon Wurrung and the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I also pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. I acknowledge we are on land which has never been ceded. Esteemed guests, colleagues, graduands, family and friends, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this wonderful occasion in the life of our graduands. Today represents the culmination of the great commitment, effort and dedication by each graduand sitting here before you. The achievement for which all of you should be immensely proud. To the graduands, whilst this is your day and your achievement, I want you to remember those who have helped you along the way, your family and your friends, your ACAP educators and staff. To our many wonderful academic staff and educators, thank you for all that you have done to educate and open the minds of our graduands. To the library team, to the sales and admissions staff, the marketing team, the accessibility and student learning support team, to the IT team, the student engagement team, our placements team and our campus manager. To the often unseen people in our various administrative functions who have helped our graduands reach this day, I want to thank you. I hope you have made connections. I hope you have connected with your educator, your professor, the ACAP staff, to your industry, and of course, to your fellow graduands. Connections can be very powerful in life. They can open doors, they can help with a problem, they can refer a client, and they can keep you grounded. You never know where and when a connection will help you. I have asked you to remember those who have helped you along your learning journey, and I've asked you to make connections. These are 2 additional skills on top of all that you have learnt. After today, we are proud to call you our alumni. Keep connected with ACAP and share your stories as you continue to achieve. May I wish you the best of luck in your chosen career, profession, practice, project, or your next adventure. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. And now, on to the conferring of awards in the discipline of counselling. Today's ceremony is one of the most ancient ceremonies of higher education. It is the formal presentation of candidates by the faculty, represented by a leading academic from each discipline, to the chair of the academic board, who represents the authority of the institution to confer the awards. I now invite Associate Professor Vicky Hutton, our Melbourne Campus Counselling Discipline Lead, to present graduands to Professor John Rosenberg, Chair of the ACAP Academic Board.
Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Diploma of Counselling Skills. Michael William Edwards van den Hoek. Tracy Ann Isaacs. Andrew Peter Lynch. Saidi Alamin Noor. Amanda Jane Wignall. Eliza Janice Wood. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the Bachelor of Applied Social Science, Julie Michelle Klein. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Bachelor of Counselling, Alicia Elpium. Carla Kathleen Benedetti. Candace Berkowitz. Crystal Chia. Julianne Freeman. Tuscany Lakeman. Alison McFarlane. Courtney McPherson. Lisa Jane Mills. Kelly Moody. Michelle Morrison. Ian O'Mara. Grace Penman. Anita Phillips. Mrs. Andrea Rode. Monica Sharma. Lucy Street. Cameron Scott Thornton. Hori Toriko. Benjamin Watkins. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the Bachelor of Counselling Coaching, Natisha Nilmadhub. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Graduate Diploma of Counselling, Lara Christina Cruz. Georgie Douglas. Rob Grundy. Irma Jasvin. Rebecca Miller. Anna Carolina Muller. Jeffrey Phipps. Vijani Shadrach. Naz Youssef. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Master of Counselling and Psychotherapy, Stefan Koutsonis. Bradley James Mackay. Annette Murphy. Michael Rooney.
Thank you, Vicky. I now invite our inaugural Discipline Lead for Social Work in Melbourne, Professor Susie Costello, to present the graduands for the Discipline of Social Work to Professor Rosenberg.
Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Graduate Certificate of Human Services. Chetna. Iowan Philip Eno. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Master of Social Work qualifying, Kaviti Chuhan. Tuesday, Chusi Aki. Mira Evans. Indira Yankanda. Tanya Jayathon. Nichandeep Kaur. Tulan Kokachik. Chatasara Danajeri Kumara. Christina Moss. Winnie Madali. Sanjana Patwal. Malithi Priyadanda Rangalanj. Ajahn Thapa. Hamanjot Kaur. Sup Claire.
Thank you, Susie, and an extra special thanks on behalf of the college, our graduates and our current students for the wonderful work you've done in the last few years in establishing social work in Melbourne. We wish you the best for the future and thank you very much for all you've done. Thank you. I now invite Professor John Rees, Melbourne Campus Discipline Lead for Psychology, to present the graduands to the discipline of psychology to Professor Rosenberg.
Professor Rosenberg, I present to you the candidate for the Undergraduate Certificate of Psychological Science, T. Kumarasena. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Bachelor of Psychological Science, Rachel Madeline Harris. Laura Christine Inman. Runda Jassim. Daryl Graham Leverton. Sophie McGregor. Jolena Sangalang. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Bachelor of Psychological Science and Counselling. Amelia Martinez. Bailey McPherson. Jade Pelham. Laura Puddlefoot. Kevin Andrew Tobar. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you the candidate for the Bachelor of Psychological Science and Criminology, Beth Byrne. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you the candidate for the Bachelor of Psychological Science Honours, graduating with Honours Class 1, Emma Louise Close. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you the candidate for the Bachelor of Psychological Science Honours, graduating with merit and with Honours Class 1, Angelique Rachel Grosskopf. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Graduate Diploma of Psychological Science, Michelle Paulette Bullner. Dominica Close. Anne Mukakusi. Renata Mascarenhas Mundy. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you the candidate for the Graduate Diploma of Psychological Science, graduating with merit, Sophie Elise Powell. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you the candidate for the Graduate Diploma of Professional Psychological Practice, Nikki Pascal.
Thank you, John. I now invite Matthew Thurgood, Senior Lecturer and Course Coordinator, Discipline of Criminology and Justice, to present graduands in the Discipline of Criminology and Justice to Professor Rosenberg.
Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the undergraduate certificate in Criminology and Justice, Michaela Wright. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Bachelor of Criminology and Justice, Zawadi Jocelyn Bashangizi. Maria Christophilopoulos. Deborah Cullen. Abia El Haj. Jacqueline Harley. Nicole Lobos. Christine Mikhail. Tut Nien Kel. Rachel Tardio. Rachel Tuokoi. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the Bachelor of Policing and Justice, Sotiheni Toliali.
Thank you, Matt. Congratulations to all of our graduates. It's now my pleasure to invite Professor Rosenberg, Chairperson of the ACAP Academic Board, to deliver the charge to graduates. Would all graduates please stand?
Today you stand before this assembly to be acknowledged as joining at the ranks of the scholarly peers. In today's ceremony, you've been clothed in the symbols of scholarship, cap, gown and parchment, to indicate to the wider community of scholars and public at large that you have reached the completion of your studies with us. As ACAP graduates, we charge you with the mission to seek out your place in the human services industries and pursue a meaningful, sustainable and successful career. You do us proud to succeed in your studies, and through this public acknowledgement of your achievement, we send you forward as graduates and ACAP alumni. Honoured guests, colleagues, family and friends, I present to you the newest ACAP graduates.
Thank you, Professor Rosenberg. Graduates, please be seated. It is now my great pleasure to welcome and introduce Professor Lisa Brophy, our occasional speaker for today. Dr. Lisa Brophy is a professor and discipline lead in social work and social policy at La Trobe University. Professor Brophy is also an honorary principal research fellow in the Centre for Mental Health in the Melbourne School of Population and Global Health at the University of Melbourne. Lisa has a professional background in social work and a career-long commitment to the mental health field of practice, dating back to the 1980s, where she graduated with a Master's in Policy and Law from La Trobe in 1995 and a PhD from the University of Melbourne in 2009. Lisa's research focus has been on people experiencing mental illness and psychosocial disability and their recovery, social inclusion and human rights. Lisa's PhD focused on good practice with people on community treatment orders, and she's been involved in local and international collaborations regarding mental health law and its implications for policy, law reform and direct practice. Lisa is a member of Victoria's Mental Health and Wellbeing Act Expert Advisory Group and a current sessional community member of the Victorian Mental Health Tribunal. Please join me in welcoming Professor Lisa Brophy.
Graduands, colleagues and guests. Andrew, thank you for the lovely introduction, and I really feel that I should congratulate ACAP on such a beautiful occasion. It's been so lovely to enjoy seeing all of you here today in this beautiful venue. And let me begin by adding my most heartfelt congratulations to this year's graduating students and to say what an honour it is to be invited to address you and your family and friends here this afternoon. As others have already said today, I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathering on the land of the Wurundjeri Wurrung people and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to any Indigenous peoples with us today. Inevitably, being at a graduation takes you back to your own. I've managed 4 university degrees. My first was in psychology, a degree I started when I was just 17 years old at La Trobe University, and I graduated when I was 20. I think there's a few young graduates here today, so I'm with you on that one. That was back in 1983. That was a year that had some things in common with the year that we're in at the moment. Bob Hawke won a landslide election. There was a severe dust storm in Melbourne that incredibly covered the city in dust, and in Queensland Queensland was declared a disaster area after a fortnight of drought-breaking flooding rains. The High Court blocked the construction of the Franklin Dam in Tasmania, and sadly we had the first death in Australia attributable to the AIDS epidemic. So some themes re-emerging after all those years. 2 years later, I graduated as a social worker, fulfilling a plan that emerged when I was just 14 years old and declared at the school assembly that that was what I was going to do. And I'm delighted to share with you that I don't have a moment's regret about that ambition. My undergraduate degrees in psychology and social work set me on the path of an amazing career. It was during my final placement in social work that I made another important decision about the direction I was to take. My placement was at a mental health clinic in Camberwell. In those days, Willsmere, the big psychiatric hospital on the hill in Kew, was still open and serving the local community, although it was increasingly dilapidated and very dangerous. The people I met in those days with serious mental health conditions were living in often desperately difficult circumstances in the context of dreadful stigma and injustice. This was a formative experience for me because many of my new clients were my age. And I recall how in those days our mental health services treated a diagnosis like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder as a catastrophe that led to the gradual erosion of the person's rights to full citizenship, lowered expectations about life, and led to minimal opportunities to flourish. Often, the very services designed to support them contributed to this marginalisation of people and added to their experience of distress and trauma through long periods in institutions, forced treatment, restraint and seclusion, and sometimes family blaming. It's a bleak picture, I know, and I know that there were many good people doing good things at the time, but what I saw had a profound impact on me, and rather than retreat, I was determined to try to make a difference and chose mental health as my field of practice. In 1986, a year after I graduated from social work, Victoria passed a new Mental Health Act, part of the Kane Victorian Government's social justice strategy. In relation to people living with mental illness, intellectual disability, and other people whose human rights had either been violated or overlooked, this legislation was groundbreaking, with a range of new protections and oversight of decision-making. Many mental health workers resented this new scrutiny and accountability for their practice, but most welcomed it. But little did we know at the time how far we needed to go. A year later, the government announced the formation of the Royal Commission into Black Deaths in Custody, and it was around this time that I launched into my third degree when, although grateful for the first 2 degrees, I could see I needed to expand my understanding of the context of my practice, and I started my master's degree in policy and law. My interest in human rights and social justice took me to the pointy end of things, and I started working in what was called the Big House, or Coburg College. Yep, the prison complex in Coburg, where I worked with prisoners with serious mental health problems, identifying what psychosocial support we could offer, as well as trying to ensure people in custody got specialist treatment. Sometimes this involved involuntary admission to the hospital unit. That was in those days located in Mont Park over in Bundoora. That's when I had another formative experience, working again with a man not much older than myself at the time, who was begging not to go to the hospital. I was shocked. I didn't understand it. He preferred his cold, concrete prison cell behind the bluestone walls to the relative comfort and care of the inpatient unit. "Why, Ray?" I asked him. "Why don't you want to go?" And despite everything he was going through, he was able to very lucidly get the message across to me that over there I lose all my rights. I haven't got choices. I put them in charge. So here I was, still very young at the time, believing we were doing the right thing. And yet I knew that Ray was telling me something very important, that when we use coercive powers and take people's rights away, even in the context of trying to help them, we're also doing harm. And despite our justifications, it's important to acknowledge this and to do everything we can to listen to people, support their decision-making to the extent we can, and recognise that the people we work with have generally experienced considerable trauma and powerlessness, and it's not our role to add to that trauma. By 1995, when my third graduation came along, I wasn't able to attend because it was on the very same day that my second son was born, and I see that someone who's graduating today might have just made it as well. But anyway, let's get that year in perspective. It was the last time Carlton won a premiership, and it was it was a long time ago. And it was, and even worse, it was the year before my team, North Melbourne, went on to win the 1996 flag. So, speaking of the mighty falling, interest rates were also coming down from the 17% they had been just a few years before. And some extraordinary things started to happen in my field of practice. I moved on to staff training and development from the work I'd been doing in forensic psychiatry, and it was an exciting time. The new Mental Health Act's impact was being felt, and people were starting to be discharged from the big institutions with an increased focus on community-based care. We were at the international forefront of deinstitutionalisation here in Victoria. This also marked the very early days of the recovery movement, when consumers and service users mobilised and started challenging the prevailing stigma and discrimination they were experiencing. A new way of thinking about mental illness was emerging, one that recognised that people are on a journey of recovery and that the job of professionals is to work alongside people, encouraging hope, healing, empowerment, and offering interpersonal support. Having a mental illness did not define people, and that regaining a sense of meaning and purpose was possible. Once again, service providers also had to consider what we were doing to be recovery orientated, and also what we were doing that actually gets in the way. As the recovery paradigm began to take hold, it helped expose the faults in our system, particularly high rates of forced treatment in the community through the use of community treatment orders, or CTOs. And by this time, I'd launched into a PhD, knowing that potentially the high use of CTOs was a big signal that many of the reform efforts of deinstitutionalisation and legislative reform were lacking. Oh my goodness, my poor children and my partner John, who's just sitting just over there, they endured 8 years of me doing a PhD while juggling young kids, ageing parents, a mortgage, 2 part-time jobs. I think there might be some graduates who can sort of understand what I'm talking about here. One of the jobs I job shared with another woman as Chief Social Worker in the North West Area Mental Health Service was a great opportunity to have a leadership position while being a young mum, and the other was also teaching in universities. So doing my PhD taught me so much, and it intersected with, as well as the recovery movement, the important development of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. I became a member of the Mental Health Tribunal in Victoria and was invited to be an expert advisor on the development of the new Mental Health Act in 2014. It really felt like we were getting somewhere, and I got to have a continued role in reform. But in recent years, we've been reminded that our mental health system needs more significant transformation. The recent Royal Commission into Victoria's mental health service system made 64 recommendations following 12,500 submissions after finding we had a depleted, under-resourced, fragmented and broken system with serious human rights concerns about the use of compulsory treatment and restrictive practices. This has resulted in moral injury for staff who felt forced to practice in a way that wasn't consistent with their principles and values. The Royal Commission described how we need a compassionate service system. We need to develop services that are accessible and responsive to people's needs based on rights and preferences. The Royal Commission highlighted that it was time to ensure that people with lived experience of mental illness and psychological distress were treated with greater respect, and that we need a more person-centred and trauma-informed system that puts the views, preferences and values of people living with mental illness or psychological distress and their families, carers and supporters at the forefront of policies, programs and services. We need to promote good mental health and wellbeing for all people in Victoria and reflect contemporary human rights practice and thinking. It is also important to ensure that services respond to the needs of individuals, including Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, those who have experienced trauma or violence, and those with intersecting or co-occurring needs. Many of you who are graduating today now inherit these aspirations as you move into the roles in the mental health system, child and family services, juvenile justice and corrections. Many of you will have coercive powers as part of your job, and I urge you to exercise them with compassion. You have an opportunity to be part of the person's healing and recovery and holding hope for their future, a future in which they will experience justice and an equal opportunity to flourish. While taking a trauma-informed approach, you can promote a shift from seeing mental health challenges as what's wrong with you to what's happened to you, and you will have an opportunity to respect the lived experience expertise of the people you are supporting and helping. You can work alongside them, respecting them as experts on their own lives. You are just visiting. Hence, you need to also support those who are there for the long haul. Their families, carers and other supporters also need your compassionate and respectful support. I've been reflecting on some of the differences your undergraduate experiences compared to mine. Hopefully we share the experience of making lifelong friends, maybe even meeting our life partners as I did, having fun, getting stressed and learning a lot along the way. What differentiates your experience from mine in particular is the extensive use of social media and online environments, And I know that in many ways that's been wonderful for you. No more hours of standing in front of the photocopier like I had to do. What differentiates? But also, as much as it brings us together, social media also creates physical distance. And in that regard, we have all had the shared experience of going through COVID-19, and I do feel for you. And I wonder whether some of you may feel that all that time of physical distance and restrictions has disadvantaged your time at university. Perhaps it has. But it has also been valuable that we all, no matter who we are and from what walk of life, now share those experiences of loss, loneliness, fear and uncertainty that the COVID pandemic highlighted for us. One way to see this is a shared lived experience that we might see as an asset, and I hope this contributes to your work in the future. The term wounded healer was popularised by Jung back in the 1960s, and what he suggested was that the experience of mental health challenges imbues the individual with transformative powers to heal. It is our own hurt that can contribute to the support we offer others. The experience of adversity can enable our own growth process and increase our capacity for empathy towards others. Being more open about our own experiences may be one of the things that contributes to us becoming more recovery orientated in mental health services, and as one of my PhD students puts it, reflecting a culture where mental health challenges is seen as an asset rather than a liability. I hope our shared experiences can help us in our ongoing quest to work alongside people and overcome our sense of us and them, and build the compassionate relationships that will be the key to the transformation of mental health services. So in closing, someone asked me recently, how could I have become a professor so relatively soon after completing my PhD? And it really got me thinking, and I have to accept that quite a bit of it was luck, and being in the right place at the right time and great jobs coming my way. But I also know that it was my extraordinary support team, beginning with my family, and a wonderful range of mentors that are also so responsible for anything that I can call success. You all now have the opportunity to be mentored and mentor others. Now is the time for reflection and supervision that can help you integrate all you have learned, as well as your personal experience and values, into your professional life. And I hope you will also take every opportunity to mentor others and not underestimate the value of every gesture you offer your less experienced colleagues in the future. And finally, what's got me here talking to you today is passion for what I do. That is in many ways what has sustained me since as a 14-year-old I expressed my determination to set myself on this path. I'll continue to search for the evidence, the innovations, the new ways of working that can reduce the use of coercive and restrictive practices and sustain my belief in the power of social justice and human rights to enable a better world for all. I hope you are all with me, and I thank you for your time this afternoon. Please enjoy the rest of the day, and once again, congratulations to you all.
Thank you very much, Professor Brophy. A fascinating presentation and lots for us to reflect on and take away from there. So thank you so much for coming along and sharing with us. I would ask Fiona to present a small token of our appreciation. So thank you very much, Professor Brophy. ACAP recognises student academic achievement through the award of various certificates, prizes and medals. Today we are presenting awards for Trimester 3, 2021, but before we do this, I wish to acknowledge those award winners from Trimester 1 and 2, 2021, who are present with us today. Normally we hold a ceremony in November, but with the challenges of COVID in Melbourne, that was not possible. And so in order to ensure that those prize winners received their prizes in a timely fashion, they were sent to them previous to this. So today the presentation is just for the most recent ceremony. But to those that have received prizes for T1 and T2, congratulations and well done. I now invite Dr. Christopher Clopper, our ACAP Dean, to present Trimester 3 2021 award recipients present at this ceremony to Professor Rosenberg.
For each of our graduating cohorts of the higher education course, we acknowledge the graduate with the highest grade point average who is Dux of their course. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you the following Student Excellence Award recipients. From the Bachelor of Psychological Science Honours, the Dux Award is presented to Angelique Grosskoft. In the Bachelor of Criminology and Justice program, the Dux Award is awarded to Jacqueline Harley. In the program Master of Social Work qualifying, the Dux is presented to Christina Moss.
Thank you, Dr. Clopper and Professor Rosenberg. Now, on behalf of our ACAP graduates, it's my pleasure to invite Jacqueline Harley, Dux of the Bachelor of Criminology and Justice, to deliver the graduate address.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning, graduates, friends, families, academics, and staff. Thank you for being with us this morning in recognition of a very special moment in time. I'm honoured and humbled to be able to share with you a few words. I cannot truly express how important it is for me to do this justice. As I stand here this morning, I hope that I can adequately capture the journey that we've all been on. I wish that each one of us could stand here and share our own personal stories, as they're all unique and meaningful. I hope that I can be your voice as I reflect upon our journey with the Australian College of Applied Professions. Our journey to this ceremony has been unique for each one of us, yet we're all bound by a shared passion, the pursuit of knowledge, eager to make a difference. I commenced my journey in 2016, enrolling in the Criminology and Justice degree, with the intention of becoming a Victoria police officer. In 2021, nearing the end of my degree, I became employed with Victoria Police as an unsworn member, working with detectives in a criminal investigation unit. My degree provided this stepping stone, bridging the gap between dream and reality. Our education will open doors for us. Throughout this journey, we've all experienced joy and discomfort. We all felt the pressure of balancing multiple priorities, whether it be careers, young children, families, or trying to maintain social lives. We've all been touched by the highs and lows of what it means to be an undergraduate student. We embraced the workload, we completed the weekly lectures, readings and attended classes. We digested volumes and volumes of academic literature. We laboured on generating hundreds and thousands of words for assessments. We juggled commitments, late nights, early mornings. We placed immense pressure on ourselves to do well. We received challenging feedback and tried to balance healthy lifestyles, not to mention the added pressures we all felt during the 2020 lockdowns. Although at times I may not have done this very well, we learned how to do this process better, and that's why we're here today. We found resilience and confidence through those challenges. We let the pressure stretch us as we kept looking ahead to the end goal. We stand here today wiser and stronger than before. As we relish in this moment, I reflect on the fruit of our qualification. We've gained confidence and expert knowledge in the field, knowledge that can change people's paradigms and the future of how we do justice. And this could begin with just a simple conversation during an opportune time. We developed resilience, built meaningful professional and personal connections. We demonstrate to employers that we're passionate about our field and willing to do the hard work. We demonstrate to the community that we're invested. We developed patience, self-discipline, leadership, independence, and teamwork. We've harnessed our organisational, time management, and communication skills, the ability to overcome obstacles, and we've gained further clarification into our chosen career path. These are skills that we carry with us throughout our journey of life and into the next phase. To the academics, staff, and student support services, because of your guidance, we now possess valuable knowledge and skills that will make a difference in our lives and our communities. We thank you for your support, your sympathetic ears, and your occasional assessment extensions. Thank you for dedicating yourselves to our learning. We recognise that many of you have careers, yet you share your time and experience to develop and guide students who are starting out or seeking to enhance their own. Thank you to our families, our friends, and our loved ones. We want you to share in our pride and our joy this morning because you watched over us on this journey. Your support during this process has comforted and encouraged us, and we are thankful for you. Let's show our appreciation with applause to all those who walk with us on our journey. To those of us who may have taken this journey alone, to you I stand in awe this morning, and we celebrate with you. Now is the time, my fellow graduates, to relish with pride. We've attained our qualification. This is, however, only the beginning. This ceremony represents a piece of our story. With support from fellow graduates, academics, staff, and loved ones, we've attained what we've been working so hard for. Now is the time to celebrate. Well done, friends. I wish graduates well in their continued pursuit of their dreams. May your will to make a difference in people's lives forever direct and fuel your journeys. My hat's off to you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. And on our behalf, Fiona would like to present you with a small token of thanks and appreciation. Well, folks, we are almost at the end of the formal proceedings for today's graduation. I would like to thank distinguished guests, academic staff, professional staff, and in particular those that have worked so hard to make this ceremony possible through the COVID period, and returning to these kinds of activities has been incredibly challenging, and so for everybody who's contributed, thank you so very much. At the risk of going off script, I just wanted to echo Jacqueline's words in terms of congratulations and thanks to the families, friends, supporters. It's an incredible achievement to make your way through the course and walk across the stage as these wonderful people have done today, but it very much is made possible by the love, the care, the support, the sacrifice that comes from our families and friends. So graduates, I'd like you to join me in putting your hands together for the families and friends and recognising their support. I recall as an undergraduate, my second year as an undergraduate was the best 5 years of my life, and the support from my family and friends at that time was incredibly important, because I did go on and complete in the end. Many years later, as a postgraduate student with a primary school and a junior high school student in the house, we would often race to get our homework done so that we could go out and play. And so the way that families show up to support, it happens in many shapes and many ways, and so special tribute to all the families and friends for their contribution. On that note, for those that are yet to have photos taken, please do so after the ceremony. For those that have had photos done or don't wish to, we do all need to return regalia by 10 minutes to 1, so that's the time frame for getting that done. And so as we reach the end of this morning's, or now this afternoon's ceremony, once again, congratulations to each and every graduate, to everybody for their support and attendance, and thank you all for making this a very special occasion. Would you please now stand for the academic recession, and after the academics leave the stage, the graduates will follow us out. Thank you.